Greetings, Rahubat. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your question, please?
Hello?
Greetings, Rahubat. How you doing?
Hey, what's good, man? This T-Pain from Houston, Texas.
Greetings, Rahubat. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, my brother, man. Look, I just started watching it. I just, I really don't know much, so that's why I'm really in tune to what y'all doing. But man, I just had a question, bro.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
it seemed, it seemed like black people, we've been on top of the world for so long, see, like millions of years. But then the white boy come and now he on top. I just want to know like what happened to where we used to be at the top of the top of the world. Now we damn near struggling. We at the bottom of the totem pole. So
Yeah.
that's my question. What happened to where we are where we at today?
All right. Yeah. So it's because of the cycles and the experiments that were being run by these ancient beings. Because what happened is that we have many cycles, and the main cycles that people are familiar with are what we call the sun cycle and the moon cycle. It's a bit like today where we have summer and we have winter. If you just look at that as a basic example, when you're in an environment or a situation that is most conducive for you, you just perform better. So what I'm saying is that, in the winter, a lot of melaninated people, they hibernate. They don't like the cold. They don't perform or are as vibrant as when the summer comes. When the summer's out, everyone is happy, more jovial. They want to have picnics and so on and so forth, and they just feel good and feel better because the sun interacts with their melanin in a way that it wouldn't for those who lack melanin or that prefer to be in a more cooler climate, right? Now, when we're talking about on a bigger scale, we're talking about 6,000 years. So the 6,000 year sun cycle, 6,000 year moon cycle, 6,000 year sun cycle, another 6,000 year moon cycle, and then it starts all over again. The last 6,000 years we've been in a moon cycle, and that moon cycle ended in the year 2000. So during the last 6,000 years, even though as nine ether beings, nine will always dominate six, but a spell was actually casted because during that time when you're at your weakest, in terms of you're not as vibrant, you're not, like I said, using the winter summer example, that spell was casted to the point where you forgot who you were. It's called the spell of sleep, the spell of amnesia, where you forgot who and what you were, and then through methods such as slavery, etc., you were stripped off of everything, so you didn't remember or know who you are. And that's why in the Bible that's picked up as you became an inner sight, and that means a forgetful being. And so what's happened is that during that 6,000 moon cycle, this experiment that I mentioned was done, which was to see if the Adamites that were created during that 6,000 year moon cycle were able to be controlled or to be taught and be able to reform their nature. And what's happened is that at the end of that 6,000 years, which ended in the year 2000 AD, the elders that carried out the experiment were like, no, they're not able to be reformed. This gets picked up in many religious stories, especially, for example, the Nation of Islam, who said the devil cannot be reformed, right? And that's why there was a contingency in terms of managing the project to say, okay, let's see if this can work. If it doesn't work, here's a fail-safe mechanism to solve the problem. And that fail-safe mechanism was to program their DNA or the telomeres at the end of their chromosomes to basically start to wiped them out in terms of them dying out. And so after watching for the 6,000 years, the watchers or the elders, they just saw the havoc and the mistreatment of other races and people, the wars, the chaos, and even till today, as you can see, still going on. So a decision was made by the Galactic Federation or Council to remove them in this 6,000 year moon cycle for them to basically not continue with the chaos and how they've ruled the world based on, like we say, all these things like religion, wars, racism, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, there were many reasons for it. But again, it sounds like a very long time to us when you're saying 6,000 years. But as it says in the scriptures relating to these extraterrestrials, that 1,000 years is like a day, or a day is like 1,000 years to them. So this experiment was really to them like 6 days. And that's why in the Bible it says God created, it tells you about how he created Adam and gave them dominion over the planet. And he said, thou shalt not kill. And he did that for 6 days. And then at the seventh day, he rested. And this is all symbolically, because when you start to look at the cycle that's come back around again, those rules they have broken, and like they've made laws that they don't even follow. Because if you read Exodus 20, for example, it says thou shalt not kill, right? But yet, you have people in positions wearing mental uniforms that can sentence someone to be unalived. Or even now you're hearing things like you can be assisted to be unalived. But yet, who gives you the authority to do that? You see, so there's a lot of distortion and hypocrisy really, in terms of when you start to look at the commandments and whether or not people follow them or not. And yeah, but I hope that's helped. But if it hasn't, but yeah, we're actually living in a time where it's being resolved, and this is referred to as the great and dreadful day of the Lord, the time when
Oh, okay.
truth comes and all false things will perish. And it's escalating to that point, so that it's kind of like the things you're seeing are helping to bring about that change that people are waiting for, to say a Messiah is going to come, someone's going to come to save you when things have got so bad in the world that change needs to take place. And different messiahs have come, and the one that's here is known as Parnababyanun, and he's come with that healing in his wings, as is mentioned in Malachi chapter 4 verse 2. That's the Son of Righteousness, because the sun cycle is playing a major part in bringing about this change. Nature is playing a part, and the planet is playing a part. The galactical bodies are all playing a part to align. But one would have to study, as an ontologist, as a scientist, as a, someone who looks into the cycles of time and creation and so forth, to really fully understand what is taking place.